Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, English Speaking Asia, where I talk about various topics to allow you to get a better understanding about Asians in Western countries. Now, today I want to talk to you about business-minded Asians. Now, people get the impression that Asians would make really good businessmen. For example, if you go to America or Australia, you find a lot of Asians own and operate their own businesses. But this is not always the case. If you look at it this way, China has a population of 1.5 billion people, and believe me, not all of them run their own businesses. But why is it that when you look at an overseas Chinese person, that they seem to have their own business and they often have a very successful business? Well, it's very simple. Take, for example, Indonesia, Malaysia. A lot of overseas Chinese that fled China during the Communist Revolution and World War II fled to Malaysia and Indonesia. But unfortunately, because of the language barrier and the fact that they were discriminated against because the local people didn't want them integrated into the society, the overseas Chinese didn't have access to the best universities, to well-paid government jobs, as well as access to be able to be employed in some of the most prestigious local companies. So because they were discriminated against and pretty much pushed out of all institutes of society in the form of business, government jobs and education, what else could they do but become what's called a distributor, whereby they buy from local or overseas producers and then they sell to local consumers. They become the middleman, a distributor. Like, for example, I had a really good friend back in university who was Indonesian Chinese, and her father had a company whereby he bought Japanese car parts from Japan and distributed them within Indonesia. So that seems to be quite typical. When an overseas Asian person migrates to a place like, for example, like America, Australia or England, because of their limited English ability and the fact that they are often discriminated against by white Caucasian people, so they can't get jobs in government, they can't get the prestigious jobs in companies, and often because of the language barrier and the culture barrier, they can't get into the best schools or universities. So a lot of them actually go into business. And what's the most common business that a lot of them go into? Restaurants. You will find that a lot of Asian people will open restaurants because it's the easiest thing to do. Because of the language barrier, they can't have jobs which require a high level of education plus degrees. And also, a thing about a restaurant is that it's based upon their own culture. They can dress in their own traditional clothing, decorate the restaurant according to artifacts from their own country, and sell their own cuisine. But then what tends to happen is, over a generation, the parents then push their children really hard to study hard so that they become doctors and lawyers and engineers, because they want the best for their children, which is the reason why when you compare, say for example, a Caucasian person to an Asian person in school, the Asians study really hard because they have everything to gain by getting good grades and going to the best universities and getting good degrees, and nothing to lose. And that's the way it is.